So, welcome everyone to our monthly Lunch and Learn. And this month, we are going to be focused on skin health and how we can support it through nutrition. And when I say skin health, what I'm talking about in this call today is eczema and psoriasis. And how many of us here, okay, drop me a one in the chat if you have been or are an eczema or psoriasis sufferer. Drop me in chat, right? There's many of us. And if you're not suffering with this, do you know someone who is? Can you relate to someone around you who's going through these issues every day? I'm sure you do. And it's a condition that we are told that we have to live with. But we are going to talk to you on this call about solutions. This is what we're all about and what you can do to support your body. Okay, so if you guys don't know already, so I'm Taz Ferreira. I'm a council member of the Million Mom Movement, and I've been partnered with Purium for the past 6 years. So my background's in genetics, and now I practice functional medicine. And what that means is I look at the root causes, because everything we're being surrounded, that we're being bombarded with all the time, has a root cause issue. So we are going to be talking about that. So let's get started. So our eczema and psoriasis, how it's supported through nutrition. And what does it mean, right? So when you hear the term psoriasis, eczema, how do you know what's the difference? Okay, so let me explain it to you. So eczema shows up in red, brown, scaly patches, right? So it could be sporadically on your face, on your hands, on your elbows, your knees. And psoriasis usually comes in communities. It comes on a larger scale, and it's thicker and silvery, and it looks like more it looks like it spreads, right? But it does not. And they're both immune system mediated. So eczema can be linked with allergens and allergies, right? So food intolerance, asthma, all of these things come with eczema. And with psoriasis, it's a little different. So psoriasis is actually an autoimmune disease. Okay, but when I say that, it doesn't mean, well, you're predisposed to it, so you have no choice. You absolutely have the choice to turn off these biomarkers. Okay, just because you have it in your family doesn't mean they need to show up. So this is predisposed, and with certain lifestyle changes can turn them on. And it can be triggered, both of them, through stress, environmental toxins, irritant, allergens. We will discuss that further. And how we are told it can be treated is through topical, oral, injectables, and light therapy. Well, we're going to be presenting you different kind of solutions today. Okay, so eczema's flares are often due to dysregulation of the immune system, okay, which leads to leaky gut. I was talking to you about food sensitivity, nutrient deficiency, and toxins. And these are triggered by so many factors. So when the food sensitivity happens, you start paying attention to, okay, I'm allergic to this. Oh, I can't eat that anymore. Maybe I'm allergic to all of these things. Have you noticed that when you are going through, when you have eczema, you start becoming sensitive to a lot of foods? I know that's what happened with me. You start thinking that, maybe I need to do a histamine test. Maybe something's happening there, right? So that's a good idea, but now we need to look at, why is this happening? What is happening in your microbiome? And psoriasis. So as I mentioned, psoriasis is an autoimmune disease. And I'll just break it down for you. So your T cells signals your cytokines. So cytokines is like a tiny protein cell that it signals to keep making more skin cells. So what happens is that it keeps layering skin cells. It doesn't receive the signal to stop. So it thinks that it needs more. This is why it looks flaky and silvery. and scaly. And the results can occur anywhere on the body. And this is what we see on the surface. So some signs of something worse. So with psoriasis, it may lead to a lot of other things, right? Like arthritis. We've heard this a lot, that psoriasis sufferers actually develop arthritis, right? But not just arthritis. You have to look under the hood. You have to look at what's happening within. So what it can lead to: cancers, cardiovascular disease, Crohn's, diabetes, obesity, depression, osteoporosis, and fatty liver disease. So when I'm saying that, let's think about this, okay? Cancer, inflammation, cardiovascular disease, inflammation, Crohn's, gut microbiome, diabetes, what's happening in your body, depression, gut-mind connection, osteoporosis, mineral deficiency, and fatty liver disease, toxic overload, right? Are you guys seeing how everything is starting to connect? Okay, leaky gut and inflammation. So let's start training ourselves. When we think of skin issues, we must think of gut issues. We must think of leaky gut because they work hand in hand. If you have something that's showing up on your skin, you have some things happening in your microbiome. Okay, so you know when you have a flare, how many of us goes through flares? I know I did. So say thank you. Say thank you to your body for having this flare. I know you're listening to me and you're like, what are you saying? Well, this is great because the body is actually responding to what's happening. It's like the body is screaming and it's telling you, please listen to me, I'm inflamed, right? So it's direct response. And how does the body show its inflammation? Through the skin, right? And let's talk about, and it's all due to gut permeability. So I want to share my story a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about gut permeability and gut issues. So I've been an eczema sufferer my whole life, and it only got worse after I had my son. Okay, so I have all my flares, and what happens is that he starts developing eczema, right? And I've been vegan for the past 14 years. So I'm like, what am I missing? What could I be missing if I'm living this healthy lifestyle, as I thought, right? So I bring him to the hospitals trying to figure out what to do. And of course, they always suggest cortisone creams and Miralax, right? This was the solution that we had. So I'm feeling horrible. There's probably no solution for me. I start with the topical creams. And they told me, you need to look at gut health. You need to look at gut health. And what that meant was probiotics. So what I did is that I would have those probiotics, those little tiny spoons that I would give him, because this is all we knew about gut health. We didn't really understand what gut permeability meant. We had no idea we could repair it. No idea whatsoever. All we knew is that we needed probiotics. So I did that. I gave it to him each and every day. And it was really interesting. Once he was going through his flares, I was going through mine, right? Remember we spoke about stress levels? So we were mimicking each other. But I put my feelings aside and I wanted him to feel better. I wanted all of his symptoms to go away. I did all the topical creams. I did everything alternative that I could have done. And let me tell you, nothing worked. And we were both suffering from mineral deficiency. How could that have happened? We eat super healthy. It was until we understood what the gut connection meant to our skin and how we need to not just repair our microbiome, we need to regrow our microvilli. But what did that mean? It was until we discovered Biomedic that completely changed our life and my practice and everything around us. And that's what changed our life. So within 3 days, I put my son on Biomedic, and then all of his symptoms went away. His eczema completely cleared. And that was an indication to me, okay, well, I need to be on this as well. I needed to heal him before myself. And once we discovered gut health, I need to share that with every single person. And what I was noticing is that while I was going through my eczema, my adrenals were exhausted. I was going through adrenal fatigue. I was malnourished. I was not absorbing any of the minerals around me. You remember I was talking about that allergen and being allergic to a lot of foods? Well, I started avoiding all nightshades, eggplant, mushrooms. I'm like, I need to avoid those because that's only elevating my histamine levels, right? I see a lot of you nodding. You can agree with me that this is what happened because once something's happening on your skin, it means something serious is happening within us. So we need to become acutely sensitive to what's happening. And there's a lot of types of allergens that are out there. And I see certain allergy testings, they don't measure the proper allergies. So be careful with that. My first step would always be to address your gut health and gut permeability. Okay. So the psoriasis and eczema, the hidden triggers. Okay, we have so many triggers that can happen. So the imbalances, remember I spoke about dysbiosis of your microbiome and the permeability, we'll get to that. The food sensitivity. You must cut gluten and dairy. Toxic buildup. We are bombarded by toxic buildup from environmental, from foods, from all around us. And nutrient deficiency. We need to fill our body with micronutrients and not just fill our body with it. Our body needs to be able to absorb it. And stress. Stress is a factor that, if we're going through it, we have to find ways to alleviate it because this can only exacerbate our eczema or psoriasis. Adrenal fatigue, self-rejection, and of course, genetic predisposition of the autoimmune disease, but that doesn't mean you have no solution because you do. Okay, so nutrients, you have your vitamin A, D, C, zinc. All of these things are so critical for skin health and skin healing. And vitamin D has been shown to be very helpful for psoriasis. We have our vitamin A, zinc. I'm going to go more into this during our testimonials, but I wanted to give an overview of how all of these micronutrients plays a huge part. And we need to look at our liver because what happens when we're eating foods that's not organic, we start taxing our liver. And not just food, there's detergents. So when it comes to eczema, you become very sensitive to detergents, fragrances, all environmental toxins. This is what I mean. And this gets accumulated in your organs. So your liver detoxifies these things, so avoid all fragrances, okay? And let's not forget about bile. So our gallbladder, actually, this is more for psoriasis, that it converts the lipopolysaccharides. So the bile is very important here as well. Because after the liver, you have the pancreas, then you have the gallbladder. These all detoxifies what's happening in your GI tract. Okay, and start implementing healthy fats like omega-3s and omega-6. So hemp seeds, nuts, and flax seeds. Okay, reduce and eliminate. So what do you need to start changing? No more red meat, no refined sugars, no dairy, no gluten. And when I say no gluten, what I really mean is no glyphosate because gluten foods are heavily sprayed with glyphosate. No more alcohol, hot baths. Yes, I've heard so many people who take really hot baths and this actually makes their skin worse, and no topical steroidal or cortisone creams. Okay, so we are going to go to our first testimonial. Amy, I would love for you to come off and share your testimonial. So Amy has a great testimonial on psoriasis.
Hey Taz, how's it going?
Great, yourself?
Good, I hope you can hear me okay.
Perfectly.
I live in the mountains, so you never know up here. So yeah, thanks for having me. I just wanted to jump on and just say, number one, I love that you that you reframed it, that you say thank you to your eczema. I got to that place as well. And I teach my boys the same thing because I will go into the story. I did have a predisposition to it. So I know that they potentially could as well. And I want to teach them right from the beginning that this is a good thing. It's a way to sort of literally flag that you need to maybe change some things, slow down, and focus on you. So rather than feel like this is, a family curse, it's actually something to be incredibly grateful for, because it really does. It's really changed how I take care of myself and my family. So my story was, I grew up. My mom had psoriasis her whole life. I saw her struggle, all the creams, all the things. Never wore a bathing suit. Never went swimming her whole life. I've never seen her uncovered. Um, I'm now 46, and I thought I dodged the bullet since nothing really happened to me at that point. But a few years ago, there was a lot of changes in my life. We moved. I pulled my kids out of public school. We're homeschooling. Just a lot of stuff was happening. I was under the, sort of delusion of a couple of glasses of wine a night is okay. It's actually good for you. All those stories, right? And then one day I just started getting little patches on my ankles. And within 24 hours, it was a horrible flare, and it was all the way up to my chest. And if you haven't had psoriasis, it's that like sunburn, poison ivy kind of combination. It's itchy, but it's hot and it's painful to touch. Consequently, I went about 2 nights where I did not have any sleep because I just couldn't get comfortable. And I ended up in the ER. So I was officially diagnosed with the psoriasis as well, to take note. And with my family history, the doctors were like, yeah, no big surprise. Here's a bunch of steroids, here's some creams, and sent me on my way. At that time, I was still very mainstream minded. I used to work in the ER for about 10 years. So I just did what I was told. It did not help. Surprise, surprise. So after struggling with that, after like couple different rounds of very high dose steroids and all the side effects that comes with that, my good friend Marcy turned me on to Purium, and I tried the Transformation Alt. And within just, I would say, even a couple of days, I saw the redness and things starting to go away. And I noticed a significant difference within probably 4 or 5 days. And then within 10 days, it was almost completely gone. So it was incredible. So yeah, I now know I don't drink anymore. I watch my diet. I don't do any sort of fragrances, any of those things. Stay very hydrated. Especially in Colorado, we get dry, and that can kind of trigger things. But yeah, my Power Shake is a non-negotiable. And I just keep a really close eye on my diet, and I've been able to live pretty much psoriasis free, thanks to Purium and some of the other dietary and stress relief, right? Taking care of that as well. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
And I know that you saw this result happen fairly quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And I think, I mean, I tried changing my diet and doing things on my own prior to starting Purium, but I think that was like the key, that it was like, oh, changing my diet and taking out the alcohol, like that was all like good, and I was going into like a good place. But I think the Purium really just sort of like picked up that momentum that was building and giving me the nutrition that I just clearly needed, and just taking down the inflammation, which is really where I was struggling. So yeah, I think it was just that thing that just sort of like got that ball rolling.
Absolutely. So I love how you mentioned that. So you cut the alcohol, you change the detergent, because that's a huge
Mhm.
environmental factor, and starting
Mhm.
the ULT, right? And this
Yeah.
helps inflammation, this
Mhm.
helps your gut permeability, right? So gut
Right.
permeability is key here. So the
Mhm.
biomedic actually repairs 30% of your gut permeability. And what you're going to notice with all of these stories is that other things start happening, right? Because
Mhm.
psoriasis and eczema suppresses your immunity, you could develop fungal infections. You could develop,
Mhm.
you're opening up your microbiome to parasites. You're opening it up to other different things. You're opening up to sun sensitivity, thin skin. I mean, there's so many other factors that may happen. Well, thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thank So, Naomi, I would love for you to unmute and share your story. You have another powerful story with your son, who I see right here. I love that you brought him with you. And please tell us your story.
Taz, thank you so much for having us on. Thank you for the Million Mom Movement. I'm a scholarship winner for 1 year now. We've been doing Purium. I'm so grateful for Amy and Dave to create this protocol to help change lives, to help change my life and my child's life, my children's life, and for us to share, because we're sharers. So how it started was, I noticed that my daycare was giving my son cow's milk. And when he gave him the cow's milk, I saw like scabs, on his face. And we weren't drinking cow's milk, we were drinking almond. So I asked her, and then we went to the doctor, went to the pediatrician, and then he said it was fine. And then I knew it wasn't fine. And then I talked to the daycare about it. And then I saw he was developing, after a while, I saw him developing, like what you were saying, flares in his arms, back of his arms, back of his legs, very, very red as an apple. Then I trust my doctor. I wanted to go and find out what's happening. So the doctor told me that he had eczema, and he advised me to give my child steroid cream. And immediately I said, once I heard steroid, I just, I said, no, that's not for me, not for my kid. And I asked for a referral for a dermatologist. And then within the same month, the dermatologist told me that he was fine. He is not allergic to anything. We tested for dairy, we tested for meat, we tested for everything. He said he's fine. He said, both of them actually told me, see me every 6 months. The pediatrician told me that. And so did the dermatologist. And then like a light bulb, boom, came on in my head. And I said, oh, they just want me as a return customer to come back, because that's how they're in business. And, I did my own research on the power of plants, because I do believe there is a power in plants of natural healing, as we had in 1700s and 1600s. And so I did my own research, and I told the doctor, I said, I will see you in 6 months, but I will tell you that there will be something different with the power of the plants. And so we started to juice, we started to do celery juicing, we started to, eliminate, red meat, dairy, and we became vegan doing that. And, if you're then eating meat, if I, such as myself, I ate meat for several years, and, you grew up with American Standard Diet, hamburgers, hot dogs, all that. And then you transition to plant-based, and then you see all these things like, Beyond Meat and all these other things, and you experiment with it. But eventually I did my research and found out that it was not good for us. And we started to eliminate that. And then that's when Purium came into our lives, when Bethany shared, about Purium, but she shared for myself. And I had no idea what this transformation company, because it is a transformation company. It transforms people, it transforms lives. And I always get choked up over here because, I've never seen a company that is so caring, that wants to help moms, because moms are always like, on the back burner. And Purium has given me a scholarship to transform my life. And then once I saw I was doing well, and once I was in the community, and once I've learned about the community, and once I've learned about, more about glyphosate, because I learned about glyphosate, once I learned more about this, toxic environment, and how the, moms are sharing and not afraid to share about the toxicity in our food, then I started to give it to my child. And that's when, he would have, his skin was better, but he would always still have patches. You see, he would have patches. We're vegan and doing all that right things and trying to eliminate stuff, but he still had patches. So I gave him the protocol, Biomedic, I gave him the cherry, I gave him everything. And I have to tell you that if I had this when he first had those big red flares, I I would kiss somebody's feet for telling me about this protocol and sticking to it, because because doing the celery juice and doing all that took a very, very, very long time, extremely long time. And I remember saying, when is this going to get better? But with Purium, the patches started to get better faster and quicker. And that is when we started to share. We became sharers and on social media, because when a mom, is there, finds a solution, we share this. And, that's when we started to share, and we shared about the power plants, power Purium. And I received many inboxes from many people from around the world. I was very emotional to really see that this is a very, very big issue. And some, people are begging for this that they can't even get because it's not available in their country. Yes, I said country because many people, from around the world, we went viral with our video that, are begging for this. And, my son has become my business partner, and we share, with children, with moms, with families, and we share, the benefit, and we share that the importance of having these nutrients in our body. And it's been a blessing to work and make money and generate money, doing this, and just basically eating food and sharing, and then you make money. Eat food, share, make money. Wow, and then you do it on your phone. It is a blessing to do that, and a blessing to learn from my child and my children. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. And if you know anybody who has eczema, especially children, children can take it. Children can take it. We've helped, right? We helped Prince, and we helped all these other people, and and they just so impressed with my child, and so impressed with my children and us. And just put the good stuff in your body. All I want to tell you is, 1, put the good stuff in your body. 2, share this with somebody. Please share this with somebody, because somebody in has eczema. Guaranteed, hands down, somebody has eczema. So please share this with somebody. Please stick with them. Please coach them through this. Let them know this is something that is constantly, and it is a fuel. It's like our personal vehicle, that we also have to have, our personal, gas, or our personal Purium that is always needed. So please share.
Naomi, I love how you're talking about when you were doing the celery juice and everything, how slow it was. And once you start using the Purium foods, how you start seeing fast results. So this is the gut permeability part, the aspect that we need to pay attention to, because now our gut is being repaired, regrows. This is what happened. It's not just a pre and probiotic, it's beyond. Okay, so now we're allowed to absorb everything, right? All those nutrients that you've been having, and eliminating dairy. Dairy causes so much inflammation in the body. You must eliminate dairy. So if you're going through any of these skin issues, for me, it's a non-negotiable. I'm like, have you cut the dairy yet? And if they tell me no, well, I'm like, well, you need to cut that, because you cannot repair your system if you keep introducing inflammatory foods. It just does not work like that. And there's something else that you mentioned. I love how you said steroidal cream. Okay, doesn't it sit differently when you say it's a steroidal cream than cortisone cream? Isn't that interesting? So I think these are terms that's commonly used, that we need to always transform them. And when we hear it that way, why would we put a steroid cream on our child? And it's prescribed far too easily, okay? Because we hear it all the time. This is so common. This happens all the time. We don't know how, but it happens. We do know how. We have the education, we have the resources of knowing how and why it happens. And, with our company, with our foods, we have the solution. Thank you so much, Naomi. And thank you, business partner. Okay, I'm going to bring on one of my amazing business partner, Allison Jade. She has an amazing story about eczema, and remember those cascading effects I was telling you can arise? Well, she has an incredible story. So Allison, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I relate with so many of these stories because it was passed down from my mother. So I thought my mother struggled her whole life with skin issues and always said, we have sensitive skin. Like, she always lumped me together. We just have sensitive skin. And so my whole life I grew up with, I had eczema, which may have also turned into psoriasis because some of the symptoms that you talk about, like it was it was sort of diagnosed by some people as psoriasis, some people as eczema. So I would go to so many different specialists. And I as well was put on so many different topical creams, always just another topical cream. And I did so many different elimination diets. So, when we had met, I had cut out the dairy. I was whole food plant-based. And I had seen a little bit of an improvement, but I never saw it go away. And what it turned into was a fungal. As you said, it opens up the, I just learned that just now on this call that could lead to fungal other issues with the skin. So I had tinea versicolor as well, which is like white spots all over my skin. And I had that since I was 15 years old. I never experienced full relief. Like it would sometimes go away and then come right back. And I never really understood the rhyme or reason. And then it wasn't until Taz introduced me to the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And I did it. And it was just like within days, my eczema or whatever it was, because it was like it could have been also psoriasis at one point. And then also, so those went away, like my itching and flare ups, because it was always very, very painful. And it was going away. Okay. All over my hands, in between my fingers, all over, I would have different patches of it on my eyelids, different places. And one thing that didn't right away go away was my tinea versicolor, the fungus. So I thought, okay, well, maybe that's something that isn't gut related, but no, it is, because I just stuck with it. And actually 2 years in finally, and I've been doing this for 4 years now, it went away. So some people are like looking for very fast results. So the quick results with the eczema were like, they did go away, but I also had, it was like, it actually flared up at one point, right when I was doing my ULT, I flared up again. And I said to Taz, I said, it's not working. I don't know. And she said, just stick with it. And I'm so grateful. She said, just stick with it, because it's like so many of us, if we don't see results right away or something comes back, we think, okay, it's not working. But Taz coached me, which was when Naomi said, like, stick with people who are doing this, because, it's so important. Taz just reassured me, just keep on doing it. And I stopped even like needing, because I didn't change anything else. I just added this stuff in and it went away. And now I'm completely free of all skin issues. For the first time in my life, it's been 2 years, I am completely free. And I don't even if I experience stress or anything, it never flares up again. I feel completely deep down to the root, it's gone.
What an incredible story. And I love how you mentioned that you were flaring while you were doing this, right? So this is not a magic pill, guys. This is long-term effects. We are looking at regenerating your body. We're looking at that you never need to go through this again. Gut repair, it takes time. You have to think to yourself, how long did it take you to get here? Took a while, right? So the body needs to start repairing itself. So it's going to take you some time to get back to that. It's not one day, it's not 1 week. It might take you some time. It depends your toxicity level. So I love how you mentioned that you were going through these flares and that you stuck with it, because the body, the skin is like a giant mouth. So whatever it's going through, it's going to be eliminating, right? And thank your skin. Thank you for showing me what I need to eliminate, because it comes out in your pores. This is what your body was detoxifying. All of those steroidal creams that you were given, now they're being eliminated. Do you know the steroidal creams actually tax your liver? I remember I was saying that you can get liver failure. Well, no kidding. No kidding. We need to start looking at solutions. And when I say solutions, I mean actual solutions that may work and support, cellular support here, right? Your gut permeability needs to be regrowed, needs to be helped on this level. And the fungal infection, right? So many other things happen. I remember when you had this fungal infection, everyone said, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing, you have to live with this. And this is something we're told so many times with any issue. Oh, you just have to live with it, right? And not knowing the difference between eczema and psoriasis. So this gets confused all the time. So many people, they see a skin patch and they're like, you know what, it's probably eczema. I know someone, my friend has it. I have it too. I'll just put some like Vaseline or Aquaphor on it, put some gloves. Like, how many people do we know who does that? And this is part of their healthcare, right? Let's start showing them what actual healthcare means. Okay, and I realized I didn't talk a little bit about my story. I spoke about Lucho, but I didn't go into mine. So I had a similar issue, what Allison spoke about. So I had eczema all over my eyelids, all over my face, and I had what seemed to be a lupus butterfly. You know that rash? So all of my doctors told me, they're like, you must have lupus. And I had very sensitive skin to the sun. So what happens, your skin becomes very sensitive as well. And it becomes very thin because of all the rashes, right? So there's so many things that can happen, and mineral deficient and exhausted. So if you're going through skin issues plus exhaustion, it's probably one of these issues because your body is not receiving the minerals that it needs. It's not absorbing the minerals. Doesn't matter how healthy you eat, because I ate super healthy and I was still suffering. I was missing something, and it was the gut repair. The gut repair and the cellular nutrition. Okay, and we have time to get to Carmela. I would love for you to unmute and share a little bit of your story.
Thank you so much, Taz. And wow, I loved hearing all of your stories. I mean, Naomi, Allison, I forget the first person's name, but I too, I've had a long journey of psoriasis since the age of 2 years old. You know, a child growing up in the 80s, I had been diagnosed so many things, and it always stemmed from inflammation in the gut. And I knew because whenever I'd eat this processed food diet that I grew up on, which dominated my diet, because my parents were Filipino, so they would always eat either heavy meat, which is kind of a Spanish diet, like yours, your family, Taz. It's a lot of meat, carbs, fruits, so a lot of grains, lots of lectins. They love bread, lots of meat, and fruits. So all of which contributed to just feeding the bacteria, feeding the yeast, feeding whatever it was, the candida, all the things in the gut that were like never sedated until I really, well, so I'll tell you what my diagnosis is. So I was atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, lupus, just like you. I had a butterfly rash right in between the eyes. I said, I have to identify it. And so it's really a blanket term for inflammation that they don't understand where it's from. But I'll never forget, not too long ago, before I started the Purium lifestyle, that I got diagnosed with gastritis. And I had eaten, at that time, I was still eating dairy and gluten. And I had a bagel with cream cheese. And I, like, my whole body just puffed up. I was itchy everywhere. I mean, this is not the first time. I've been having episodes my entire life, but I remember distinctly this one episode. It was like head to toe. And really it's the junctures. It was that I could feel as soon as I would eat inflammatory food, this processed food diet, I would immediately inflame. I would itch everywhere. And so much so that I would itch till I bled. And I was hospitalized a few times to have an IV of steroids just to sedate my inflammation as a child. So, you know, I've been through the gamut, and all of those medicines you're talking about, the immunosuppressants, I think is completely backward science. Why? Because it's not about suppressing the immune system. The immune system is there to save us, to tell us, mark us when our body needs the help and what to do. It's signaling. So why would we want to suppress that beautiful mechanism? So I think it's totally backward medicine. My background is in Chinese medicine. And so what you're talking about, liver connection with the steroids, I was almost addicted to prednisone. I was like, can I please be on it all the time? But then as I studied it, I said, oh my goodness, it's linked to liver transplant connection. So it's about helping the liver reconnect, and it helps the liver. And in Chinese medicine, head health, hair, eyes, just like you were saying, the rashes, that's all liver. So when I was on all these corticosteroids, immunosuppressants, oral medications, I was constantly itching my scalp and my eyes. And so it's direct connection. And then as I started getting deeper into my studies, I noticed that the side of the hand, this is the small intestine. So whenever I'd have a flare up, these specific acupuncture points would like, I'd want to itch it so badly, like I'd want to put a needle in it to let the heat come out of my body. So let's talk now about the lifestyle. What really shifted it all for me, having just suffered for decades, not knowing, because the medicine really didn't focus us in on what exactly the culprit, the root cause was. I went plant-based. It supports your immune system. It increases fiber content, which helps everything move through the gut faster. It decreased the risk of all kinds of inflammatory conditions that kept cascading for me. I just knew that I just felt cooler and less inflamed. And so I moved into organic foods then after being plant-based, and then I moved into the ULT. And step by step by step, I was completely witnessing my own healing. I was like, wow, it's step by step. First, it doesn't mean you have to be completely vegan, but primarily plant-based is the key, because you have to have enough food that's going through your gut that moves things to the gut. If anything is sitting and stagnating and festering in the gut health, then you could create inflammation. So that's really where, I wanted to share my story, because I had a lot of like the skin discoloration that happened, just like I know Allison was talking about that. And we don't want anyone to go down that road anymore. There's a much more natural path, and just take it from us who've been through so much, and we don't want anyone to suffer. That my kids don't have anything that I have at all. My daughter, I encouraged her to do a colonic and an enema, and then she got onto the core 4. Her weight management shifted, her hormonal health, and then all of a sudden her skin, the bumps in her side of the arm, which a lot of people with gluten sensitivity, and also the skin here all cleared up. So I'm so grateful for this protocol and this lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Carmela. It's so amazing once we put our body in its optimal state and give it the proper nutrition, it has no choice but to thrive. Thank you so much for your story. I forgot to mention with Allison that she was actually featured in a magazine article about her skin and the solutions she's had. So I'm going to paste that in our chat so you guys can take a look. Paste that. Okay, I'll paste it. I'll send it to you guys after. And so that's incredible. And it's so beautiful to see how we can, okay, I'll paste it after. Okay, let's just go into the solutions. So I'm going to show you the solutions now that I recommend, that everyone's been talking about, how nutrition and superfood make a difference. Okay, so zinc deficiency is one of the #1 thing that's associated with eczema, okay? And zinc is very critical for keeping your skin healthy. You know that itchiness that you get, it's usually because of zinc deficiency. And the zinc helps reduce pains and joint swelling for psoriasis as well. Okay, vitamin A and aloe. Vitamin A is super important for skin barrier integrity, okay? So cantaloupe, all these red things, carrots, mangoes, tomatoes, well, even kale, collard green, and we know we love watermelon. Aloe vera helps the body inside digestive system, okay? And ALA, okay? So alpha linolenic acid. ALA, this is found in abundance in seeds, flax seeds, hemp, pumpkin seeds. Our bodies need all of these things. So start incorporating these on the regular, okay? Good cellular hydration, healthy fats. Our body needs healthy fats, and we need all of our omega-6 and omega-3s. And what you can use. Okay, so this is what I recommend. The ultimate lifestyle transformation plus immune. So the ultimate lifestyle transformation, now you're given all of your cellular nutrition, okay, in the form of your power shake, all of your B vitamins. You remember I was talking about having all of your vitamins and your micronutrients? The power shake. The gut repair and repairing your gut permeability in the biomedic. The super cleanser with the parasites, the super aminos, it does not go through your organs. It alleviates the stress from your liver. The zinc aid, so that itchiness that you get, this is whole food zinc. And it's zinc paired with C, D, and E, which are very important for skin health. And the others. So C from nature, this is the vitamin C that I recommend. There's so many vitamin C's on the market, and they're not even real vitamin C's. They all contain a compound called ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid, we know, is not vitamin C at all. This is all real whole food derived vitamin C. Amla berry, acerola. So include this. This also helps the skin. And barley grass juice. So why is barley grass juice important? Paired along with cracked cell chlorella. This helps chlorophyll. Chlorophyll helps skin health, okay? So that is key for that. Super xanthan, okay, so when we're going through eczema or psoriasis, environmental weather makes a huge difference. If it's too dry or it's too cold, don't we get more flares? Have we ever discovered that we're like, oh, it's so cold outside or it's so hot, I'm flaring? Because our body is not regulated. So once you start incorporating super xanthan, which is nature's sunscreen. So super xanthan was developed, when you have shrimp, well, I don't have shrimp, I'm vegan, but like lobsters and flamingos are all this pink color, is because they have super xanthan. Super xanthan actually prevents you from freezing to death or boiling to death. It's actually found on the equator. So that's very interesting. So it regulates extreme temperatures. So doesn't that make sense how it would help regulate our internal temperature as well? And then of course, all of the vitamin A in carrot juice plus. Okay. Oh, well, that's it. Allison, do you have a question?
No, I wanted to just add something that when we were in Belize, we ran out of our stuff. Okay. We were there for a few months and we ran out. And that's when our eczema came back. And even though we were eating all the fruits and veggies and all the good food, and my daughter, Junie's, because hers came back really badly again, too, really bad. We were so worried. As soon as we got her back on Biomedic, we had a special delivery, like $100 delivery just to get this back to us in Belize. As soon as she went back on the Biomedic, it was gone. So that's how we were able to really, it was like when we went without it and saw, it was like, as soon as we went back into it's like magic. It just went away completely. So yeah.
You see, that's such a great point. So even though you stopped it, because we say this is a lifestyle change, right? This is not something you do for 1 month, 2 months, and that's it. No, this is something that you do every single day. So you were in a place that you had no access to it for that moment, and it came back. So it's great for you to have, you could compare that you had to start including it again. You needed all of the nutrition, the cellular repair. It's really incredible what the body and how much the body handles. Because you know what? When something appears on our skin, that means our organs inside our body has been going through a lot for years. And it only appears on your skin as a last line of defense. Our skin is our largest organ. So when it appears, it's the body saying, okay, we've had enough. Please help us. So always be thankful and always be grateful when something happens on your skin, because it's better that than something else, right? I want to add, if you're thinking, well, how am I having these issues? Do you sleep with a dog, right? Do you sleep with a pet? Do you have a pet that you cuddle with at night, right? That could be an issue of all of these as well. You could develop all types of issues from your eczema. It could cause all types of flares. So maybe don't bring your pet to your bed, and start repairing your microbiome and introducing cellular repair and nutrition. Nutrition is the key. So I know everyone who's on today's call, you must have someone who told you to come on this call, okay? So reach out to them. They have over $100 off for you on all of these foods, on all of these superfoods that can help transform your body and your families. And what I love about this is all whole food nutrients. This is all food. So your whole entire family can use this. Start incorporating this in your daily lives, in your daily routine. So reach out to them. They will set you up. They will be with you through this process. And we have a recording. So if anyone that you don't know who's on today's call, all of our calls are found on our YouTube channel, Million Mom Movement, and you can look us up there. And yes, I see Laura has a question. Do we have time for, okay, let's do one question. Laura, did you have a question? Okay, no question. Okay, so come and join us every Friday on Fierce Friday. We host Million Mom Movement every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I believe it's 11 a.m. Pacific. Fierce Friday, and we are a community of like-minded individuals, moms, caregivers, men, everyone who has this level of awareness of regenerating our health and being responsible for our health and what we put into our bodies. And we live in an environment of toxicity. It's not like 100 years ago. I used to think that the body could naturally detoxify itself. Well, you know what? It cannot. We need to help it out, and we need to help it rejuvenate itself. So thank you all for being on today's call. I'll see you soon. I'll see you on Friday. Good night. Good evening, everyone. Okay, bye.